Hi Chinmay, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you have been busy for quite some time, and COVID must have increased your workload. So thank you so much for taking time out and speaking to us. So first of all, tell us a little about yourself.
On the onset, I would like to extend my gratitude to you so that I have been given this fabulous opportunity to be on your YouTube channel and to connect with a wonderful audience. So, thank you so much, ma'am. Uh, my experience in COVID has been a great learning experience because this was the first time that we all are being exposed to such a situation. So, as far as the police department is concerned, in the initial period there was a lockdown. So the responsibility of enforcing the lockdown was with us. So we had to seal our district borders,
Right.
and we had to ensure that people don't come out of their houses, and we had to take actions. So for first 3 months it was extremely busy for us, and at the same time we had to be careful that we ourselves don't catch the infection.
Right.
So that was a tight rope walk, but somehow we managed it, and now the situation is very good. At least in Dhule district, the cases have been reducing consistently.
Right.
The deaths have been reducing consistently. So far, so good. Let's see.
Right. You have been SP right at the time before this COVID started, and immediately this came. This pandemic has come over, so I'm sure you must have been very busy. So tell us one thing. We have seen a lot of police people working during this time tirelessly. How do you manage to find time and energy to sustain for so long, because the hours of duty is so long, then the pressure that you guys feel on the road, otherwise also at home, because your family also needs to be protected during this time. So what did you do to make a balance so that nobody falls sick or otherwise doesn't feel depressed during this time?
Ma'am, we undertook plethora of initiatives. I mean, I would be glad to tell you that we undertook psychological testing of our men,
Okay.
so as to study whether they are undergoing any depression or depression or like that.
Right.
We found that 20% of them were mentally depressed. So those who needed psychiatric help, we gave them medicines and referred them to psychiatrists. Those who needed psychological counseling, even we did that.
Okay.
And as you asked, what did you do to keep the morale of the force? So I believe in leading from the front. So I used to continuously visit the nakabandi points, the checkpoints, and talk to my men, talk to them regarding the precautions that should be taken while checking, the precautions that need to be taken to protect yourself and your family. So that instilled a confidence in them that my SP is visiting my spot, my nakabandi point, and he's talking to me.
Right.
So that was the second initiative I took. Third initiative I took was those of our men who turned positive and were admitted. I ensured that I talked to them over phone on a daily basis.
Okay.
So in the morning, my first job was to find out their numbers, and I used to talk to them,
Okay.
and I used to counsel them that this is not the end, or
Right.
this virus is deadly. But if you have proper medical treatment in time, you can be safely out of it. I
Right.
used to talk to their family members as well.
Right.
So that made a good a working environment, and that kept the morale of my force.
Right. Now, coming back to the general police force topic that most of us want an answer to, there is a mixed feeling whenever we talk about police service in general. There is a quite a mixed feeling that somebody has. Some say that no, they do a great job, and they work tirelessly. But there are a certain set of people who feel कि यार मतलब कुछ भी करो, and you should not इनके पचेड़े में नहीं पड़ना है kinds. So what I want to understand is that why is it that police force generally is supposed to be, and what I understand is generally working tirelessly so that people don't face trouble in and out of their homes. Now why is it that so many people are these days saying that नहीं, पुलिस की पचड़े में नहीं पड़ना है, नहीं जाना है उनके पास, as far as you should try to avoid them. Why is it that this has become a general tendency? Is it because the social media is also highlighting the negative aspects more and forgetting that there is a positive aspect to this, and because of which this kind of feeling is increasing?
I believe while working in police force, there should always be a respectful fear, Adar Yukta Bhiti, as we call it in Marathi. क्योंकि मैम अगर डर नहीं है तो फिर एक तो रिस्पेक्ट नहीं है तो डर नहीं रहेगा, और डर नहीं है तो रिस्पेक्ट नहीं रहेगा, तो म्यूचुअली कॉम्प्लीमेंटरी थिंग्स, दीज टू आर म्यूचुअली कॉम्प्लीमेंटरी थिंग्स. Or if you want to enforce something to some people, if you want to be a law enforcement agency, so there needs to be a fear among the general public. अगर लोग डरेंगे नहीं तो फिर कायदे का पालन कैसे होगा? और रही बात कि इनके बछड़े में मत पड़ो, देयर नेगेटिव थिंग्स, तो देयर आर ब्लैक हॉर्सेस इन एवरी फील्ड. सो कुछ लोग अच्छे तो कुछ लोग बुरे भी हैं. Yes, I agree that sometimes police atrocities, I mean on a daily basis we read it in the news also, होती हैं. लेकिन जनरली पुलिस बुरी नहीं होती, वो अपना काम करते रहती है. कभी कभी प्यार से होता है काम, जो प्यार से समझते हैं वो प्यार से समझ जाते हैं, जो नहीं समझते उनके लिए डंडा है. तो दोनों चीज रहनी चाहिए, ये मेरा मानना है.
But is it because what I was trying to ask in this was कि suppose I have seen somebody else face the brash of police, I saw it, but I did not know what background there was, and because of the social media it got say 1,000 views or lakh views, and then I got a feeling sitting somewhere far off that that person was beating, or the police was beating that person, and that person was absolutely not at fault. I for one know that that's not true. Nobody gets mad over things just like that. So what do you suggest that there should be some steps to reinforce the positivity of the police force as well?
Ma'am, in this regard, I feel that it works both the ways. As you said that nowadays social media is an inevitable evil, we say. We cannot be so far stay away from the social media, because everybody is there on Facebook, everybody is there on Twitter. So we have to accept that reality. Now, how it works both the ways is, I'll tell you an example. In the first part of the lockdown, there were videos circulating that those were violating the lockdown laws were beaten or dealt harshly with by police.
Right.
So that instilled a feeling of fear among the citizens. And because of that deterrence, they did not venture out from their homes.
Right.
So that worked positively also. Now, negative aspects, okay, right. I mean, there were some videos, there were excesses, and those were circulated. But again, it works both the ways.
Right.
So उसमें हमारा फायदा भी हुआ है, कुछ नुकसान भी हुआ है.
Right. Right.
लेकिन इसमें एक the bigger point here is nowadays, I mean, a few days back we used to talk about emotional quotient. Now it should now it is now online quotient. I mean, हा पार्ट आता आपण कसं मी सांगूयात की आधी I mean हम लोग एक there used to be a behavior pattern when we used to engage in social gatherings, I mean physically. Now there should be a code for engagement on online society.
Right.
So the first rule of that code is never blindly believe what is being shown to you.
Right.
Always take it with a pinch of salt, think, and then post. So that's what we tell when we guide students or when we go to schools and colleges, that never forward any message which you don't believe or which you don't confirm that whether it is true. सो ये भी एक मुद्दा है, इसमें बड़ा मुद्दा है कि सोशल मीडिया पे ब्लाइंडली भरोसा नहीं रखना चाहिए, जो चीज हमने वेरीफाई नहीं की उसको सच मान के फॉरवर्ड नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारी रूमर मॉन्गरिंग होती है, उसमें साइबर बुलिंग हो जाती है, साइबर स्टॉकिंग, ये भी आजकल बहुत बड़ा इशू चल रहा है। तो ये सोशल मीडिया का दोनों साइड्स हैं, इसका फायदा भी है, इसका नुकसान भी है।
हाँ 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 अच्छा coming back to the topic that you're talking about, there are a lot of cyber crimes associated with the internet usage and all this. So does that come under your purview, or is there a separate department which looks into it?
As a head of the district police force, I have a separate cyber wing.
Okay.
So that any complaint regarding social media or any complaint regarding cyber frauds, maybe economic or cheating वगैरह सगळे, तो that is dealt by a special cyber wing which falls under me.
Okay. And this must have increased over a period of time. Achha, there is a very funny question that I have. I have realized that the social media thing has increased a lot in lockdown. Is that what your observation is?
Yes, true. People have since it was dangerous to venture out from their homes. So the only way to connect to other people was through social media.
Right.
So the use of social media has been increased tremendously. The domestic violence cases have been increased.
Increased?
Yes.
Okay.
The social media abused cases have been increased.
Okay.
Online frauds have been increased during this lockdown period.
Okay. Because people had no other work to do.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Because people had no other work to do. They were at home.
True. Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, Chinmay, you have been in service for 7 years. Before that, you did engineering. Now, these are two poles apart, kind of a thing. You did your engineering. From there, you moved on to IPS. What brought you to these services? After doing an engineering from a good college in Pune, you did not pursue engineering as a career. Instead, you came to services. What brought you here?
Ma'am, I am a student of Bhosla Military School. I studied in Bhosla Military School from standard 5th to standard 10th.
Right.
So it was always in my mind that one day I'll be an officer in the armed forces.
Okay.
And fortunately, I had an uncle who was a serving colonel that time. I used to look at him and idealize. I always wanted to be like him.
Okay.
After my standard 12th, I appeared for this 10+2 technical entry scheme, which gives you entry directly into the armed forces in the engineering wing.
Right.
So I cleared my services selection board interview, which by far is the toughest interview in my knowledge in India.
Okay.
So it's a 5-day process where where you go. It takes place only at the 3 locations in India: Bhopal, Bangalore, and Allahabad.
Okay.
So you have to go there, and for 5 days you have to stay with them. They test you psychologically. They test your group behavior. Then you have a personal interview. Then you have group discussions. So it's a very comprehensive process.
Okay.
And after 5 days, then you either make it or you are sent back home.
Right.
So I cleared this interview twice, once for Army and once for Indian Navy.
Okay.
But fortunately or unfortunately, in the medical process, I got to know that I had I had a condition called spina bifida.
Okay.
And which doesn't fall in their medical standards. So I went till the last, the highest authority in the army medical, that is called research and referral officer. So I went till that level, and then they told me that, Chinmay, look, you can't any further try for Indian Armed Forces. So that was devastating, because all my life I had a dream to join armed forces, to wear this uniform and all. Right. But because of this unknown medical condition, I'm no longer eligible for the armed forces. But that time my parents supported me and guided me that I should enroll for engineering course and do my engineering. And after that, there are many career options that you can pursue. Right. So I completed my engineering, and after completing my engineering, while I was in 3rd year, I got a job in Mahindra & Mahindra automotive company.
Okay.
in the campus placements itself.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2008, we all know that there was a global recession, financial recession. It was a huge crisis.
Mm-hmm.
But still, in that situation, I got a job which was well paying.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a decision to join the job. But while doing the job, I realized I worked in Mahindra and Mahindra as an assistant manager for almost 2 years.
Okay.
But while doing the job, I realized that this is not something what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And it used to be very boring, and I had no purpose. So then I realized that I always visualized myself in the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So what if I don't? So what if I can't join the armed forces? I can always try for civil services and join police services.
Mm-hmm.
So this thought came in my mind, and then I started preparing for the civil services examination.
Okay.
And it would be wrong on my part if I don't mention Chanakya Mandal and Avinash Dharmadhikari sir here,
Right.
because they were my guiding force, my friend, philosopher, and guide. He is my guru, Avinash Dharmadhikari sir. I read his book called Nawa Vijay Path, and I was tremendously inspired by his sessions, his speeches.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quit my job and started preparing for the civil services. I prepared for 1 year, and I got through in the first attempt itself, got police service,
Okay.
and got my home guarder.
Okay.
And now here I am talking to you, man.
Acha, tell me, there is now with this, had you got IAS from this service, would you have given another attempt for IPS, or how is it?
IS was never my choice, man.
Okay.
I put Indian Foreign Service as my first option,
Okay.
and second was IS, and third was IPS. So if you put IS as a second option, so it is as good as you don't have a choice.
Right.
It is considered.
Right.
IFS मुझे जाना था,
Okay.
क्योंकि वो भी एक थोड़ा सा एक चैलेंजिंग करियर मुझे लगता था
Mm-hmm.
कि फॉरेन सर्विस में जाके बाहर यू गो आउट ऑफ इंडिया एंड रिप्रेजेंट योर कंट्री एंड फर्दर द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ इंडिया. सो वो भी मुझे अच्छा लगता था, लेकिन मैं पुलिस सर्विस में आ गया. आफ्टर कमिंग टू पुलिस सर्विस आई रियलाइज दैट एवरी सर्विस provides you an equal opportunity to serve the people.
Right.
So every services have their charms. Every services have their pluses and minuses.
Mm-hmm.
It is important that how you perform, how you look at your service. So that is what is important. So I have no regrets about not getting IFS or being in IPS.
Okay. Okay.
In fact, I am enjoying being a policeman.
Okay. Another question. Since police services are a very, very demanding job, you guys, how do you manage your holidays? How do you manage your family time truly?
Yes, of course, all the jobs in civil services, they are demanding.
Mm-hmm.
But it is always important that you have a perfect work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure that I go to the office on time. I come back from the office on time.
Okay.
And within those 8 to 10 hours, I ensure that I work smartly
Mm-hmm.
and not a donkey work. So in whatever work I have, I complete in that period. And I keep some of my time. The time management is very important.
Right.
And not only in police services, but
In every,
for excelling in any field.
Yes.
Time management and discipline is important. So you have to plan your day well ahead in the morning.
Right.
You have to keep some time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep some time for your family. You have to keep some time for your hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I do all the planning in the morning, and then I plan my day accordingly.
Right.
So and I generally avoid sitting in the office till late hours.
Right.
I work for limited hours. Yeah, whenever the situation demands, you have to be there. But generally, मैं ऐसा नहीं करता हूँ कि रात तक बैठे रहो, कुछ काम नहीं है फिर भी बैठे रहो.
Right.
Just to show कि I am working. मैं ये नहीं करता.
Right. Right. So effectively, you are managing your work-life balance, which is a good thing. Now tell me, now, people have a charm about uniform services, and you are into a uniform services. How did you get married? Did some girl pursue you, or you got married even before you joined the service?
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. You asked me this question so that my wife watches this video. She'll be delighted, and I have a plus point after that. मेरी हमेशा से ये सोच थी कि मेरे आईएएस होने की वजह से या फिर मेरे आईपीएस होने की वजह से अगर कोई मुझे प्यार करता है या फिर मैं उससे शादी करता हूँ तो वो अच्छा नहीं रहेगा। इसलिए मैं जब प्रिपेयर कर रहा था तब मुझे एक लड़की अच्छी लगी तो उसमें मैंने उसको प्रपोज कर लिया और और ये मेरी खुशनसीबी है कि उसे फर्क नहीं पड़ता मैं आईएएस हूँ या मैं आईपीएस हूँ या फिर मैं किसी सर्विस में हूँ, क्योंकि वो खुद भी एक सिविल सर्वेंट है। शी आल्सो cracked the UPSC exams and she is into Indian information service. Okay. She is currently working as deputy director in All India Radio at Nagpur. Okay. And we used to be faculty members at Chanakya Mandal. Okay. And तभी हमारा मतलब एक दूसरे के प्रति अफेक्शन था एंड तभी हमने डिसाइड कर लिया कि वी विल लाइफ पार्टनर्स।
Right. So your uniform services से जिन लड़कियों को attraction होगा या जिनके you have already closed doors for them, so yeah. So okay. Now, just for the people who do not know, Chanakya Mandal is an institution run by Avinash Dharmadhikari sir. He is an IAS 86 batch, and he left the service. I think 10 years into the service, he left it post that. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. And one more name I have to mention here in the video is Rishikesh Modak sir. Rishikesh Modak sir used to be a visiting faculty in Chanakya Mandal, and by that time I was doing my course. He was already an IAS officer, and when he used to come and deliver his speeches, we used to be mesmerized. How an ideal IAS officer or how an ideal civil servant should be. So we used to idealize Rishikesh Modak sir. So he is also a source of inspiration for both of us, for me and even for Gauri.
Right. Gauri being your wife.
Yes.
Okay. So now that you have been into this service for 7 years, before we conclude this interview, would you like to tell the viewers, about the services in general, or for that matter, while they're preparing for UPSC, what should they keep in mind? Because every service, UPSC is one single thing that brings forward so many different types of services that while a person is preparing, now you were very focused on coming into a uniform service or IPS. But most of the children who are preparing have no idea as to what exactly they will land into, what exactly are they hoping to get at the end of it. IAS, IPS are two, names that they know. Apart from that, none of the services are mostly spoken about. None of the services are known publicly to people, popularly at least. So what is it that you will tell them? Because not everybody would get through and get IAS and IPS. What is your suggestion to them?
True, ma'am. Even when I was preparing, I used to have a very different idea about all these services than what I have it now. So my basic advice to all the aspirants is go and talk to the civil servants. What is that job is all about? Because in India, what are the benchmarks of achievements are? If you are from IIT, then you are a super brainy guy. If you are from IIM, then you are considered great. Or you are a IAS, IPS, then again you are a cream. But these are not only the benchmarks.
Right.
There are so many other fields.
Right.
I mean, I've seen people who go on appearing for examinations for years and years, but somehow they don't get through the examination.
Right.
So first thing is to understand that this is not the only option that you have in your life. Of course, when you are giving your attempt, you should be totally focused, and that should always be your plan A. But there should always be a plan B. ready, because again, it's a matter of chance. 99% hard work, but 1% you have to give it to the destiny or luck.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my first advice. You should always have a plan. Be ready.
Right.
Never worry about the outcomes of the examination. I mean, I've seen people, they are brilliant enough, but they have self doubts. When they appear for the examination, first question itself, they see their future. If I fail in the examination, फिर क्या होगा? मैंने तो मेरे घर की जमीन बेच के मैं क्लासेस के लिए आया हूँ, या फिर मैंने ऐसा किया है, लोग क्या बोलेंगे, ये क्या बोलेंगे, वो ये नहीं करना चाहिए. वो तो हमने मतलब क्या है कि जब दे रहे हो, अटेम्प्ट दे रहे हो, ठीक है, तुम अटेम्प्ट देने से पहले सारा होमवर्क करके रखो, लेकिन जब आप एग्जाम लिख रहे हो या फिर जब प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो, तो ये बाकी सब चीजें छोड़ देनी चाहिए.
Right. Just before you go, one more question, since you said, most of the kids, the moment somebody clears the services, they say कि हमने तो घर पे बैठ के पढ़ाई की, हमने बिल्कुल भी पैसे खर्च नहीं किए, हम कहीं नहीं गए, हमने कोई classes join नहीं किए. There is a certain population that says that. There is a certain population which goes to Delhi, joins the academy and then clears it. But when those academy people are publishing, there are a list of people who have attended there. So we are not sure. This is more of a marketing technique that I have seen people do. But do you genuinely feel that somebody who has never attended a class, who has never got any particular guidance, because that person simply can't afford it, cannot clear it?
No, ma'am. There are no fixed. There are no fixed criteria. If you attend the class, then only you can pass the examination. I've seen people who have prepared on their own and getting through. I've seen people they used to work, and while working they prepared and they got through. I've seen people who have attended classes for years and then they got through, or they did not get through. So there are no fixed watertight compartments or blocks as such. It depends on you.
Right.
If you feel that I need a class, then go for it. If you feel that I can do it while sitting at home, you can do it. If you feel that I need to go to Delhi because Delhi offers much better guidance than anywhere else, you can go.
Right.
If you feel that I can do sitting in some remote village, it's fine. And there are no set rules.
Right.
For that.
So, if somebody is why I'm trying to ask you this is because most of the people say कि हम लोग बहुत दूर रहते हैं, we can't go to Delhi or we can't go to a place like Pune, say a major city where most of the classes are run. Those people, what is your advice to them? How are they supposed to prepare? Only with a certain set of books they can prepare, and what kind of a mindset should they keep at that time, since they are already missing the somebody who will give them a proper focus or a proper guidance. If they are missing that, what advice would you give to them so that they can prepare on their own?
Ma'am, this COVID situation has shown that even while sitting at home, you can learn so many things online.
Right.
So अभी ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं है कि जो सिर्फ दिल्ली में मिल सकेगी. आप घर पे बैठे भी दिल्ली में जो क्लास चल रही है उसकी ऑनलाइन पढ़ाई कर सकते हैं. और क्लासेस के बारे में, या फिर आप जैसे कह रहे हैं कि गाइडेंस और प्रॉपर इंस्पिरेशन, वो आपको आप ढूंढें तो कहीं भी मिल सकती है. मतलब मुझे अभी मेरे दिमाग में वो स्टोरी आ रही थी जिसमें एक राजा एक लड़ाई में हार जाता है और फिर वो पड़ा रहता है, और पड़े पड़े उसको ही सीज एक स्पाइडर है, वो ही इज वीविंग हिज वेब. तो just by looking at the web he gets the inspiration कि अरे वो कितने बारकाई से कर रहा है. Even after getting failed for so many times, that spider again comes back and then he starts weaving that. So that serves as an inspiration. So anything can be inspiring for you. You just have to be open-minded and look for inspiration.
Right.
And the truest inspiration is within.
Right. So on that, yeah.
So a person sitting at the remotest part of the country in the village can easily study and clear this examination. There are no set patterns, set rules. And you asked about the attitude. I strongly feel that these competitive exams, whether UPSC or state civil services examination, these are not the exams of your testing your knowledge. These are exams testing your attitude.
Right.
Because अभी जैसे मैंने बताया कि पहला क्वेश्चन देख के ही आधी जनता वहीं पे खत्म हो जाती है कि अरे नहीं यार मेरे को नहीं आएगा। आधी जनता फिर सोचने लगती है कि मैं पास नहीं हुआ तो मैं क्या करूंगा। और जो लोग जिनका एटीट्यूड सही है वो सोचते हैं कि ठीक है यार ये क्वेश्चन मेरे लिए डिफिकल्ट है, इसका मतलब ये सबके लिए डिफिकल्ट है, तो आगे बढ़ो। और ये चीज हमें किसने सिखाई? ये चीज मुझे ऋषिकेश मोडक सर ने सिखाई।
राइट।
क्योंकि ये तुम्हारे लिए डिफिकल्ट है तो सबके लिए डिफिकल्ट है। यू जस्ट हैव टू बिलीव इन योर सेल्फ एंड बचेंगे तो और भी लड़ेंगे। अगर ये एटीट्यूड रहा तो हम लोग एक क्वेश्चन से लेकर दूसरे क्वेश्चन और की तरफ हम लोग बढ़ सकते हैं और ये एग्जाम क्लियर कर सकते हैं। और उसमें एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि बीइंग इन प्रेजेंट। दोज हु डोंट स्टे इन प्रेजेंट देयर आर हाई चांसेस दैट दे फेल। क्योंकि अभी जो मोमेंट है वही सच है। जो पहले था वो पास्ट है, वो चला गया, उसमें आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते हो। और जो फ्यूचर है इट विल बी डिटरमाइंड हाउ यू यूटिलाइज योर प्रेजेंट। सो बीइंग इन प्रेजेंट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो बीइंग पॉजिटिव, बीइंग इन प्रेजेंट, ये अगर एटीट्यूड रहा तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई भी कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम, मतलब कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम ही क्यों, किसी भी फील्ड में आप एक्सलेंस कर सकते हैं एंड यू कैन रीच टू द टॉप इजीली।
Right, right, right. So on that note, we come to the conclusion of this interview, and thank you so much again, Manjay. I know that you have been busy for quite some time, and this is a weekend actually, but still you are in office, so that shows that you have still been working. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.